Alright guys, welcome back. We have looked so far in this unit about what nationalism is, its effect on people. We looked at the revolutions of 1848, and now we are going to be ready to talk about the unification of Italy, which is a product of nationalism. So let's get into the topic. We're going to look at today at the causes and effects of Italian unification. Now, we've learned that nationalism can both divide people, but it can also unify people. And we also learned that the Italian revolutions in 1848 failed to drive Austrian occupiers from Italian soil, but it did succeed in keeping Italian nationalism alive. So, let's look at some background to Italian unification, and then we'll talk about two men who lead the way to unifying the Italian states. So, for years, parts of Italy had been ruled by foreigners. In particular, this area right up here, as you'll notice, was under Austrian control. So we have Italians being ruled by outsiders, by Austrians, and you know that's going to cause nationalism because the people here are going to say, hey, we're Italians, we should be ruling ourselves, Austria, get out of here. Now, the first man we're going to look at today in terms of playing a big role in Italian unification is a guy named Count Camillo di Cavour. So he was part of something called the Kingdom of Sardinia, also known as Piedmont, Sardinia. I might use those terms interchangeably, but just keep in mind, it's this thing right here. So Count Camillo di Cavour was not the king of Sardinia, rather he was the prime minister of Sardinia. And he was basically in charge of a country that was the strongest of the Italian states. So if any of the Italian states are going to lead towards unification, it's going to be Sardinia. But they have an obstacle, a real problem. It's right here. It is Austria. Now, Austria is stronger than Sardinia, so if Sardinia wants to push the Austrians out, they are going to need some help. Some help from this country right here called France. So in 1858, our new emperor of France, Louis Napoleon, also known at this point Napoleon III, is going to ally with Sardinia, and then a combined French and Sardinian force is going to push the Austrians out of at least part of northern Italy. And in fact, there is Napoleon III, kind of imitating his more famous uncle here on the battlefield. Our second person we're going to look at today in terms of unification of Italy is a man named Giuseppe Garibaldi. There he is, right there. It's kind of hard to see him. There he is. His red shirt stands out for a reason. We're going to talk about that in just a second. So Garibaldi is an Italian nationalist. He's a guy who had been involved in revolutionary activity for years, had spent some time in South America where he learned guerrilla warfare. He comes back to Europe, comes back to Italy, and in 1860 he is given some ships and some guns by Count Camillo di Cavour of Sardinia, and he and his red shirt revolutionaries are going to sail southward and invade Sicily. Now the red shirts only numbered about 1,000, but they're able to capture Sicily and then southern Italy, which tells you with only 1,000 soldiers there must have been a lot of support for what Giuseppe Garibaldi was doing in southern Italy. So now what we have is we have northern Italy unified, southern Italy unified, and we got to put those pieces together. So in 1861, Garibaldi meets with the king of Sardinia, and the two men agree that the two pieces, northern and southern, would be fused together to form a new united kingdom of Italy. So Garibaldi turns over his territories to Sardinia to form the Kingdom of Italy. There's Garibaldi. There's the king of Sardinia. Notice how Garibaldi's helping him put on his boot, right? The boot of Italy. So that's the first king of unified Italy. Victor Emmanuel II was his name. Now that doesn't mean all of Italy was unified just yet. You'll notice there are a few pieces left. There's a piece up here that was still ruled by Austria. And then, of course, you have this area right here called the Papal States, ruled basically by the Pope around Rome. Once those two pieces join up, the last piece being the city of Rome itself and the Papal States. Once those join up in 1870, what you have then is a completed Italian unification. So we had gone from a bunch of different Italian states to using warfare to unify northern and then southern Italy. And then we fused those two together to form a unified Kingdom of Italy. And then when the Papal States in Rome followed suit, we have basically a finished puzzle. Italy was now fully Italian. In our next video, guys, we're going to do the same thing, but this time for the German states. We're going to put those pieces together to form a German nation state.